So this video gives us an idea of what we're doing in media literacy and the researching. But what was really important is what comes after the day the MILID finishes. So here we have students, researchers, experts, and professionals that are working in this. So we would like to ask you what we're gonna do when we cross these doors and pass from the theory, from all these discussions, to start working on this.
I completely agree with you. So let's get the conference started. I would like to present our first group of experts, starting with Josep Maria Català, Dean of Faculty of Communication Sciences, Universidad Autónoma de Barcelona. Please come to the table. Yeah. Thank you.
The second one will be José Recoder, Vice Chancellor of International Relations from the Universidad Autónoma de Barcelona.
The third, Emelina Fernández, Audiovisual Advisor, Council of Andalucía.
The third one will be Dr. S. Eldin Omar Abusted, Vice Chancellor of Cairo University.
Alton Grisel, UNESCO, United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization.
And finally, Jordi Torrent, United Nations Alliance of Civilizations.
Welcome all of you. I'm going to take just a few seconds for them to be seated. So we are going to start, if it pleases you, with Josep Maria Català.
Okay. Good morning. Welcome to everybody to the Communication Science faculty. It's an honor to have you here in order to discuss a very important subject, which is media literacy. Media literacy is, media literacy is, I think, the business of our faculty, and it has been my own business in my academic life, since I am an expert in visual culture. I think it's, in order to understand media, we must understand also ourselves. Media is changing everything. The new technologies are changing everything, but are changing also ourselves. If we don't change ourselves, we would not understand media. since media is ahead of us, and we will be thinking this media, we will be thinking these new technologies from the older point of view. So we are back at the beginning. We are back at what Socrates said, you must know yourself. So we must know ourselves in order to understand media. And there is a problem when we try to understand this reality, this new media and ourselves. And it's this myth of progress that it lets us to believe that everything that we do, it's good, since it's new. And we must stop at this kind of thinking, because I think it was Steiner who said that every step we take in civilization is also a step in barbarism. Barbarism and civilization is very close together. And not only because, from the standpoint of Europe, there are other places in the world that are worse of us. There is hunger in the world, there is violence in the world, and everything. And also because in our own place, barbarism and civilization are close together. So we cannot continue thinking about we are doing good only because we are inventing new things, only because we are discovering new things. We must step a little back and think about what we are doing. Walter Benjamin constructed a very strong allegory about that. You should know already. In his thesis about history, he thought about this angel of history who is pushed back from the past against the future by the wind of history. But he's giving the back to the future, looking at the past, horrified by what is letting behind, all the disasters that is letting behind. And I think that is a very strong image in order to understand what we are doing right now. What is happening maybe here in Europe. Maybe our governments, not all of us. Our governments maybe are not looking at the future. No, excuse me, at the opposite. Maybe our governments are looking only at the future, an ideal future, giving the back to the past, and not knowing what are giving and letting behind. I mean, what is all the courses that being behind of this march towards the future. In this allegory, in this image, there are several things. There is the figure of the angel, is the fact that it's giving the back to the future, the fact that it's looking at the past, the fact that it's horrorized and everything. But there is another factor, another element that is very important, and it's the speed. This angel is going towards the future at a very fast pace. It's a very speed trajectory. And I think the speed is against reflection. The speed is against what we must do. Speed is against complexity. And things are going very fast right now. Technologies are changing very fast. We cannot be at the same pace of this changement. So we need to stop this speed and reflect about what's going on. And I think the university is precisely the space where we can stop this speed towards the future and think about what's going on. We must recuperate in the universities the possibility to think about that, to think about complexity. So we must be against speed, and again this wind of history that is pushing towards the future, not thinking about what are we letting behind, and reflect about what's going on. And the university is precisely the place to do that. So just take your time. You will be thinking, discussing all these days. Take your time. Be reflexive. Be profound about what you are thinking, and I think marvelous ideas will come out from this meeting. Nothing else. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Now I would like to present to Maria José Recoder, Vice-Chancellor of International Relations of this university.
Thank you very much. Els dono la benvinguda a la Universitat Autónoma de Barcelona en nom de l'equip de govern. Welcome, bienvenidos. First of all, I would like to thank you for coming to the MILID Week celebrated in our beloved university. I know that many of you must have traveled from very distant places to Barcelona and that for working in a very hard way during 3 days. That's why I want to thank your effort, and I hope that this experience will not disappoint you at all. I wish that the debates held along the week will be intellectually satisfying because of their quality, as the Dean was saying just a minute ago. We are really very glad to take part in this project based on solidarity and collaboration between some important institutions like UNESCO, the European Union, Mentor, UNAOC, and the Cairo University, among many others from China, Brazil, the United States, Australia, Russia, Japan, or Jamaica. Especially thanks to our guest, Dr. Abu Staid, Vice President for Education and Students Affairs of Cairo University, Jordi Torrent, de UNAOC, Alton Grisel from Jamaica, Emelina Fernández, del Consejo Audiovisual de Andalucía, and of course our directors, the organizers, that are José Manuel Pérez Tornero, Sami Tai, and Santiago Tejedor. The Universitat Autónoma de Barcelona is a big university. I suppose that you can see it during these days, with a very interesting projects that are possible thanks of the improvement of the members of our community. The MILID Week, as you all know, is about being supportive, creating international relationships with help students around the world, and joining forces to improve the media and information literacy and intercultural dialogue. You know, in a globalized world where distances are shortened as times go by thanks of the use of new technologies like internet, it's necessary to understand different cultures and promote the information exchange between people and nations with the digital alphabetization, for example, but as the Dean was saying, with the reflection that we can promote in universities. The Universitat Autónoma de Barcelona is a welcoming university with a strong international vocation, which is demonstrated with the exchange of our students around the world, mainly in Latin America, Europe, and Asia, by Erasmus and Ortelius programs, and also with another program called Study Abroad. We welcome professors and take part in masters with awesome international universities too. And of course, furthermore, we have research projects with some of them in a wide range of scientific specialties, also communication, of course. For all of this, and even though the bad economic situation that many European countries are living in this moment, you know what is the case of Spain and strikes that happened yesterday in all the countries because of questions of education. I think that the Autonomous University is committed to work hard and go on with all the values and projects from UNESCO, UNAOC, MILID Week. I'm sure that this will be possible thanks to the leadership of the organizers of this Congress, and all these colleagues are working very, very well all these days. I also count on the help and support of the communication faculty and its direction team. Desitjo que aquest congrés sigui molt profitós, que els debats aportin noves i interessants idees i que les conferències i les comunicacions ens mostrin la recerca que s'està fent en l'àmbit educatiu i cultural en relació amb els mitjans de comunicació. Jo espero que ens tornarem a trobar a la Universitat Autònoma de Barcelona en altres ocasions per veure de quina manera estan avançant els vostres projectes. Moltes gràcies.
Thank you, Maria José. Now we're going to hear from Emelina Fernández, Audiovisual Advisor Consul of Andalusia.
Good morning to everybody, and first of all, I would like to thank the organizers of MILID Week for inviting me to participate in this inaugural session. It is a great pleasure for me to be able to attend this conference, especially since many of the issues which are going to be discussed over the next few days, particularly those concerning media literacy, have been key priorities for the Andalusian Audiovisual Council for a number of years. I'm sure that of the significant issues concerning the future of the sector are going to be addressed here, but I personally believe that we also need to pay attention to matters which are of immediate importance. Indeed, our daily lives are oriented towards and influenced by practices which are related to audiovisual communication, in which traditional media such as radio or television coexist with the more innovative formats of the digital world. Through the media, we receive a huge amount of information, a huge amount of information on daily basis, and the quality of the space of public communication, which is the cornerstone of a plural and democratic society, will depend to a large extent to our capacity to interpret and digest this information. In the modern world, citizens, in the broadest sense of the word, require the effective skill to permit them to establish a positive relationship with the communication media. This skill must be acquired at the youngest possible age, since children and young people are precisely those who are the most vulnerable to the excess and harmful effects of the audiovisual sector. As such, in terms of media literacy, the Andalusian Audiovisual Council wishes to emphasize its commitment to encouraging access to and better understanding of the media, as well as its sources of finance and the mechanism to use the processed information. In this respect, it is essential to encourage a critical understanding which enable us to access to content received, wisely promoting people's capacity to produce their own audiovisual material. These concepts form the basis of the Conference of Media Literacy and Young People, which we organized in Granada last October, and the objective of which was to identify and compile a set of proposals and activities which could be developed in the autonomous region. The discussions which took place in the conference, which we were organized jointly with the School Council of Andalusia, and involved the broad participation of key players in the communication education sector, led to proposal entitled Recommendations for the Promotion of Media Literacy in Andalusia, published at the beginning of this year. Please allow me to take this opportunity to invite you to learn about these recommendations through our website, since I believe they should be of considerable interest. The media also allow us to discover new peoples and culture, helping us to understand them better and lose any fears we may have about them. Often, our suspicion is just a product of the doubts and we have about the unknown, and in this respect, the new communication instrument can contribute to despite any such misgiving. The mass communication media are the main motors of globalization, a process which, without doubt, offers a huge advances, but which needs to be humanized and adapted to our own reality. In this respect, the protection of cultural diversity acts as a form of vaccination against the process of standardization which are currently affecting the global community, whereby, as is well known, the web is showing a strong tendency towards the predominance of a single language. It is certainly no coincidence that every 14 days a language disappears completely. The diversity globalization dichotomy will become increasingly important within the framework of international relations. In this context, societies which wish to preserve their cultural identity will have to develop powerful industries in areas such as the audiovisual sector, and only by doing so, they will be able to generate their own content. The protection of cultural diversity also involves the fight against outbreaks of intolerance and xenophobia, which unfortunately tend to become more prominent in times of economic crisis, and can also call into question the values of which peaceful coexistence is based. In these difficult circumstances, the media must fulfill its role and in socially responsible matter without neglecting its obligation as a public service. Multicultural growth, which is accentuated by the process of migration, could lead to social segmentation and cultural identities which are enclosed. And for this reason, it is essential to promote platforms which encourage interaction and dialogue. Intercultural dialogue by the media should therefore be an essential objective of the policies which are implemented by the administration. Andalusia is a region which is immensely proud of its rich multi-ethnic heritage. In what was the birthplace of the Roman Seneca, the Muslim Averroes, and the Jewish Maimonides, several cultures coexisted, thereby permitting an uniquely powerful synthesis of knowledge and thought. This synthesis was possible without the powerful tools for communication and transmitting information which are available to us today. We should use this as an incentive to encourage the public to make a comprehensive and democratic use of the media, with the aim of generating societies which are socially fair and culturally richer. Thank you very much, everybody, for your attention.
Thank you, Melina, for sharing this experience with us. Now we're going to present to Dr. S. Eline Omar Avostet, Vice-Chancellor of Cairo University.
Honorable guests, dear friends and colleagues, I am really delighted to be visiting Barcelona, this beautiful city which has a rich history and a wonderful culture, in order to take place in this important event, media and information literacy and intercultural dialogue. Thanks are due to all those who were responsible for the organizational efforts to bring us all here together today. Since the world is becoming closer nowadays due to the advancements in information technology and mass communication techniques, we are in need more than ever before for innovative initiatives and solutions to confront information literacy. We are pleased to participate today in this important event about media, information and literacy and intercultural dialogue. For the Arab world, Spain has always had a unique historical importance, being committed to eliminate cultural barriers between people. Moreover, it has played an important role in building bridges between diverse cultures through international dialogues, such as the Barcelona process a few years ago, which was designed to foster dialogue between European Union member states and countries on the southern and eastern shores of the Mediterranean. I stand here today to represent Cairo University with my colleagues in the Egyptian delegation, which has always considered the dissemination of knowledge and science and common understanding as one of its main responsibilities. Cairo University, to foster intercultural dialogue and to ensure the constant production of new knowledge through education and research. Every year the university receives foreign students from different countries to pursue their undergraduate and postgraduate studies. As of April 30th this year, we host 5,152 undergraduates, 4,566 for master, and 2,086 for PhD degrees students. I am pleased to declare today that Cairo University was one of the first institutions to hold up the UniTwin project and will continue to do so. Thanks are due to the UNESCO and the United Nations Program on Alliance of Civilization for this initiative, which will allow 8 universities from all corners of the world to exchange their views, work together to share ideas, and collaborate in the areas of communication and education in general. Our responsibilities as academic institutions are greater than ever before, because students of today are the leaders of tomorrow. I would like also to express my appreciation for the efforts that the Autonomous University of Barcelona has made to allow this important gathering to come about. Finally, I would like to express our desire to invite you all to become our guests next April at Cairo University for hosting the next annual MILID meeting next year. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Esseldine. Now we're going to hear from Alton Grisel from UNESCO, United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization.
Thank you very much, Monsieur and Madam Chair, distinguished guests at the table, other distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, friends, colleagues. I bring you greetings from UNESCO and join the other speakers before me in welcoming you to this first Media and Information Literacy and Intercultural Dialogue Week, MILID Week for short. I'm delighted and in fact excited to give these remarks, as these are exciting and hopeful times for MIL, for intercultural dialogue, and indeed for all forms of development, as more and more people grasp the importance of media, the internet, libraries, and other information providers to the development processes. First, I must express gratitude for the foresight of the Autonomous University of Barcelona in cooperation with the University of Cairo and the Sidi Mohammed bin Abdallah University, who was chair and co-chairs of the University MILID Network, conceptualized and spearheaded this MILID Week. Ladies and gentlemen, I invite you to listen to me closely. Here's an international network on MIL and intercultural dialogue that was established by UNESCO and UNAIC in cooperation with 8 member universities representing different cultures, languages, and beliefs from all regions of the world. And only a year after the network was launched, the members of the network are taking ownership of the process. This is true partnership. And I propose to you that without this type of partnership, development is dead. Therefore, I invite you to join me as we did in our private meeting, and I think it's very appropriate that we do it in this public meeting, to recognize, as we have thanked the University of Barcelona, to recognize the hard work of Jose Manuel and his team, and we can invite them, please, to stand. Jose, if I can invite you to stand, and your team to stand if they're here, and if we can just recognize them for their hard work. And to thank, of course, as I said, the University of Cairo, and the Sidi Mohammed University and all the other universities who have played a supportive role in creatively organizing this event. UNESCO is pleased that 7 of the 8 universities could be present here today and regret that the Queensland University of Technology was not able to attend. Permit me on a personal note to say that I'm glad that the University of the West Indies made it. I'm happy for 2 reasons. Firstly, it's my alma mater. And secondly, and more importantly, perhaps too often, too frequently, the Caribbean is missing from the international cooperation table. We also thank all other participating universities who saw it necessary to attend this important event as we take steps to expand the MILID University network gradually with the hope of launching an associate membership program. You'll be hearing more about this membership program during the course of the proceedings. Ladies and gentlemen, I started my remarks by saying that these are exciting times for MIL and its relevance to all types of development, including intercultural dialogue. This MILID Week marks the first in a series of activities which will be undertaken by UNESCO and UNAOC and member universities to commemorate the first anniversary of the Fez Declaration on MIL, adopted by representatives from over 40 countries during the first International Forum on MIL, which was led by the Sidi Mohammed Ben Abdallah University in Morocco in 2011. These are indeed exciting times because we are on a journey. We are now in an era where we experience the coming together of the Grunwald Declaration of 1982 and the Alexandria Proclamation of 2005. These are exciting times because a few years ago, a vision was birthed by UNESCO, a vision which called for media literacy and information literacy to be treated as a composite concept, media and information literacy, necessary to achieve greater take-up and impact of MIL on education and development. Not just a name change, but a real joining of efforts of media, information, technology, library, and education experts towards making MIL a mass engaging civic education movement. Today, this meeting is not a media literacy or an information literacy week, but a media and information literacy and intercultural dialogue week. Yesterday, the member universities of the MILID network met and agreed on a program of activities for the next year. Earlier this year, there was a European meeting on MIL in education that was held in Milan, Italy. In June, there will be an international conference on MIL in Moscow, supported by UNESCO and other partners. And in Costa Rica, there will be another international conference in early September. UNESCO calls on all stakeholders to explore this strategy of MIL as a composite concept to unleash more benefits to the citizens of the world. Our presence here today shines a spotlight on the importance of media and information literate citizenries to engender intercultural dialogue and mutual understanding. Today, we underscore how interwoven media and information competencies and intercultural competencies are. When we say culture, we agree that it means a lot more than what initially meets the ear or comes to our thoughts. As Ms. Irina Bokova, the Director General of UNESCO, puts it in her message on the occasion of the World Day for Cultural Diversity, for Dialogue and Development on May 21st, and I quote, "Culture is what we are. It embodies our identities, our dreams for the future. Culture are mutually sustaining and contribute to the enhancement of the humanities' wealth and productivity. Such diversity is a wellspring for the renewal of ideas and society. It holds great potential for growth, dialogue, and social participation. But ladies and gentlemen, we recognize also, too, that media, newspaper, radio, television, libraries, new technologies are a part of culture and society. It is widely accepted that these are transmitters of cultures and engines behind globalizing cultures. In countries of high media density, there is no aspect of society on which media have not had an impact, albeit at varying degrees. Media and other information providers can also be framed as social actors in and of themselves, with the power to give impetus to social development and social participation. It is this interrelatedness of media, information, and culture that makes more evident how interwoven media and information literacy and intercultural competencies are, which I mentioned earlier. Ladies and gentlemen, partners, friends, I invite you, as we share in the next 3 days of activities, to contemplate media and information literacy in the broader context of intercultural dialogue, a journey of thousands of years, some would say millions of years. Meaning, we should keep in mind that MIL and intercultural dialogue are also about gender equality and women's empowerment, a journey of about 167 years. They're also about regional integration in Africa, Arab states, Asia and the Pacific, Europe, North America, Latin America, and the Caribbean. When combined, a journey of over 200 years. MIL and intercultural dialogue are also about the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Rights to marginalized groups such as the disabled, indigenous peoples, rights to education, rights to freedom of expression and information, a journey of over 64 years. Let me clarify here that I do not pronounce MIL as a human right per se, but as Frank LaRue, the Special Rapporteur on the promotion and protection of the right to freedom of opinion and expression, who, in deliberating the access to internet as a human right, purported that the access to the internet is an extension of existing human rights. UNESCO holds that MIL is an extension of the rights of freedom of expression and the rights to education. I pause here to point out to you that according to the recent analysis carried out by the Freedom House, still only 14% of the world's population live in countries with free press, while 45% have partly free press, 45 and 40% lived in not free environments. This is a total of 86% of the world's population living in countries where media, the internet, and other information providers are not free. This makes MIL ever so important. In closing these brief remarks, I share with you 2 pieces of information from one of my favorite authors who calls himself Dr. Chris. One is a fact, and the other is a hope. In relation to the fact, I learned that to make honey, bees extract nectar from flowers, which contains more than 15% of sugar content. It requires 154 trips for a honeybee to produce a teaspoon of honey. 154 trips for a honeybee to produce 1 teaspoon of honey. Imagine the number of trips to make a pound of honey. In fact, a bee travels a distance which is more than 3 times around the world, just to produce a pound of honey, extracting from 2 million flowers. Wow. This was mind-boggling for me. As Dr. Chris puts it, that is really work. I wondered to myself, who is more powerful, bees or men? And of course, we know how intricately bees work as a team. As we travel to MIL conferences, teach, prepare MIL resources and tools, and publish books, let us recognize that this is necessary hard work towards making MIL an engaging civic education movement. And let us ask ourselves the question, can we work even harder and smarter together? Now for the hope. Dr. Chris cited Jonas Salk as saying, "I have dreams and I have nightmares, but I have conquered my nightmares because of my dreams." As I contemplated this quote, I likened dreams to a blissful world, a world of freedoms, peace, mutual understandings, and nightmares to a world of misery, unnecessary control, war, hatred, and conflict. As we continue on this journey towards MIL, Media and Information Literate Societies, let us combine our hard work with our dreams, with which we can conquer nightmares. Let us fight the fight for MIL. Let us continue to complete the journey. Let us have hope and faith, keeping our eyes on the ultimate objective to empower people, to build peace in the minds of men and women. Ladies and gentlemen, I invite you to partner with UNESCO and hope with us as we continue to advance MIL as an engaging civic education movement and to engage in all the activities that you saw on the video at the beginning. UNESCO believes that the time has come for systematic and calculated global partnerships for MIL. Consequently, we're now in dialogue with the UNAOC and other key stakeholders around the world to design and establish a global framework for partnerships on MIL. The hope is to launch this next year in Africa. This is not another academic conference, but a much smaller and focused mechanism with 3 objectives. 1, to articulate concrete partnerships to drive MIL development globally. 2, to enable the MIL community to speak as one voice on certain critical matters, particularly as it relates to policies. And 3, to further deepen the strategy for MIL to be treated as a composite concept by providing a common platform for MIL-related networks and associated members globally. With this, I do hope and I do believe that we're already having a successful and fruitful MILID week. Thank you all and God bless you.
Thank you for a great speech. I really liked it. Because you talk about dreams, and I consider myself a dreamer, so that part of the dreams, conquer the nightmares, it was great. I thought it was great. So the last person will be Jordi Torrent, United Nations Alliance of Civilizations.
Bé, abans de tot volia donar gràcies a tots els que han organitzat aquestes conferències, el treball enorme que significa reunir-nos tots aquí, a la Universitat Autònoma de Barcelona i a Josep Maria Tornero amb tot el seu equip i realment molt agraïts. I would like just to thank the university and as well as all the participants that have traveled, some of them from far away, in order to be here and to really start working on concrete outputs on media and information literacy. So the Alliance of Civilizations report, the high-level report of 2006 that was presented to the UN Secretary General, already identified media literacy as one of the areas that the Alliance will actually work on. In fact, the Media Literacy Initiative was one of the first launched as a concrete initiative and project of the Alliance of Civilizations. In January of 2008, during the first forum of the Alliance of Civilizations in Madrid, we actually presented a clearinghouse on media literacy. And at the time, we invited experts from around the world that to come and to share with us their thoughts, their ideas, their initiatives, and also to invite them to engage and to participate and to collaborate with us. At the end of that forum, several universities came to us, the University of Barcelona, University of Cairo being at the core group, and say, well, you know, we should organize some kind of a share around media literacy, something that, but we don't like to organize one university to own and to have the ownership of that share, but we would like to have, like, be a group, be a team effort. Intercultural dialogue is another platform for sustainable development. As important as water is, as important as access to energy is, as important as population growth policies are, intercultural dialogue is another building block for sustainable development. If we're not able to talk to each other from different religions, from different cultures, if we're not able to create a creative exchange, the future will be bleak, maybe there will be no future, actually. So we urge this idea that building bridges of communication, building capacity building, building ways of better understanding, building ways of recognizing that we're different, but our differences does not have to become a source of conflict, could be a source of building together. So media and information literacy for us is a platform for intercultural dialogue. And so we're very, very pleased to see that already this UNITWIN has these 8 universities from around the world. And as we progress, other universities will come and participate. We think that's particularly important, especially in today's world that actually, as Josep Maria Català was mentioning, there is a lack of reflection, actually. And as humanities education in general are dwindling around the world in favor of technical or business education, etc., media and information literacy brings that element of reflection, brings that moment of thinking about our life, our world, and the ways that the media is actually representing this world. Is the media representations of myself, of my culture, of my society? Is that the only way? Is that the way that engages creatively into a better possible understanding, or is just another way of disseminating, of cultivating existing stereotypes? So we have to be very, very careful, and media and information literacy is a way of thinking about how we live with media, how we use media, bringing ethical values into our use of media and our production of media, because more and more we're ourselves producers. So the ethical aspect of media and information literacy is another very important role for us. And in that sense, when you were asking about concrete outputs, this this UNITWIN, this group, this team of universities, is a very practical. It's not only an academic exercise. We are aiming at exchanges of students, creation of programs, creation of all kinds of activities that will be practical values towards really engaging governments into including in their educational policies media and information literacy as a basic education. So media information literacy has to be in the schools at grade level, not at university level alone. It has to be at the grade level, and through our work and through your work and your participation in the work that we're doing, we hope to engage governments and policymakers into better understanding the need of including media and information literacy. So we're very pleased to see the representative from Andalusia in this sense, because you are part of the policy-making process, and your interest in media and information literacy, it's very, very telling to us. So we thank you very much for that. We will be here for the next 3 days. Please feel free to reach out to me if you would like to further this conversation. Thanks again.
Thank you, Jordi. Now to give a brief conclusion to this first group of conference, I give the word to María José Recoder.
Moltes gràcies. Thank you very much. Simplement, en nom de la rectora de la Universitat Autònoma de Barcelona, declaro inaugurada la MILID Week Barcelona 2012. Have a nice day and very good work. Thank you.